It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. Love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene. We're gonna fill our house with happiness, but we'll smother the blues with tenderness. There's room for you.
Well, hello there, all you crawdads and gators. We're gonna be cooking up some jambalaya today. We're gonna take it down to the bayou, and we're gonna make something delicious. Yep. Yep. Alright, I won't talk like that the whole time, but you're gonna need a couple things. This one's probably got the most steps in it of most of the things I've made so far, so there's gonna be a lot of parts. It's gonna take a while, but I will do my best to be as diligent as possible. So on this cutting board here, we got about 2 big onions here. Got a orange bell pepper. I like the orange one. I think it adds a nice color, and I like the orange ones. Doesn't really matter. You could use a green one too, but I chose the orange one because I've also got 2 poblano peppers here. I got some jalapenos here and a little bit of chipotle just for a little extra flavor. So yeah, it's gonna be hot, not for babies, but you know, if you want to adjust the heat temperature, there's gonna be more spices added later, and you can just do less peppers. So that's where we're gonna start. We also have the big pot going here. I'm gonna throw some olive oil on that and start cooking these down. Also got some beef stock ready to go over here, but we're gonna use that a little bit later. So first, we're gonna put some olive oil that I did not take out of the cabinet. Put some olive oil in here. Definitely want to coat the whole bottom. Okay, that's good. And then I'm gonna do this one-handed apparently, and it's gonna go perfect. Okay. Oh no. Alright, I'm gonna cut here because there's no way I'm doing this one-handed. Okay, now everyone's in there. I got the heat on pretty high just to get it started, and then we're going to turn it down a little bit once we start seeing the onions get translucent. If you see any of them starting to brown, that means it's too hot already, so turn it down, take it off the heat. We're not trying to burn anything here. We're just trying to cook these all down. So we're going to cook this down for a little bit, keep stirring, and once these onions start getting a little translucent, then we can turn it down and start simmering, okay? Alright, so we got the onions translucent. I turned the heat down a little bit, probably turned down a little bit. Next thing, we're going to add a couple cloves of garlic. We always add that in a little bit after because we're not trying to burn the garlic. Garlic goes quick. And then I like to start adding a little bit of the Cajun seasoning now, so it can start getting into some of the vegetables. So we're just going to add... You're going to use a lot of the Cajun seasoning today. I'm just going to let you know that now. So make sure you have a full bottle. So give that a stir. You don't want to burn the garlic, so you're not going to cook it like this for too much longer. Just want to let it cook down just a little bit. And then we're going to add our beef stock in pretty shortly after this. So do this for about, I don't know, another minute, 2 minutes, depending on how high the heat you got on it. And then we'll add the beef stock in. Alright, so garlic's cooked down for about a minute or two with the Cajun seasoning and the other vegetables. So we're going to take, I got a big pot of beef stock over here. I'm just going to pour that in. Okay. And then I got some tomato sauce. You can use crushed tomatoes too if you like. I don't really like the chunky tomato texture in that myself, but there you go. So I'm gonna start getting something like this. I like to use beef stock as opposed to chicken stock because I'm gonna add some chicken in a second and some pork. I like to add a little bit of beef. I think it adds a little bit of richer flavor, but you can use chicken stock too if you want. So I'm gonna stir this around for a little bit. I might add some more beef stock in a little bit, but there you go. So basically what we're doing now is we're making a big kind of stew, almost like a gumbo. The last thing we're going to add in is the rice, and then after that, if you want some shrimp, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But right now we're just making a big old soup, and I'm going to start adding in some more ingredients. Alright, so I actually added a whole nother thing of beef stock because I want to make a bigger batch. But now we're going to start adding some of our proteins. So what we got over here is I got some andouille sausage. Only use andouille sausage. It's not going to come out right unless you use the andouille sausage. I like a lot of it in mine. I also like to cut it up in little discs as opposed to dicing it. But that's a preference thing. So I have 2 andouille sausages here. I've got a can of black beans and pinto beans drained. And then over here, I did this prep work yesterday and I didn't film it, but I have 4 chicken leg quarters that I roasted in the oven that I coated in Cajun seasoning, and then I pulled them off the bone, roasted them for about 45 minutes at 350. You can do, I would recommend chicken thighs or chicken legs. Chicken breasts are going to be a little dry. I would say use some of the dark meat. So I used 4 chicken leg quarters, again, coated them in Cajun seasoning, roasted them for 45 minutes at 350, and then pulled off all the meat. So that's going to go in with this and these 2 things, and then we're going to add a couple more ingredients. Again, I'm not going to have you watch me try and fumble all of this in one-handed, so give me a second. Alright, so now we got our proteins. Everyone's in the pool. We got the chicken, we got the beans, we got the sausage. Now we're going to add some more wet and dry ingredients. First we're just going to add a splash of this thing that I'm not going to say on camera. Just a couple squirts of that. We take a little bit of Frank's. That's why I didn't add any cayenne or chili peppers at the beginning, because I knew this was going in. Okay. On that note, now we're going to add some crushed red peppers. Again, this is just your heat level desire. So we're going to add a good amount of that. A little bit of onion powder. There's already some onions in there. It's just more for flavor. Garlic powder, same deal. Okay. A little bit of chili powder. Again, this part's more of the heat preference. And then we got some fresh ground pepper. And we got some salt. Salt you can always keep adding to taste, so I'd recommend not adding too much at once. You're going to need a good amount, but I wouldn't, just pour a whole shaker of salt in there. And then Cajun seasoning. So the Cajun seasoning already has paprika in it, so that's why I didn't add any paprika. Don't need to. It's already in here with a couple other Cajun spices, so we don't have to really add any more herbs in there. This has got it covered. You're going to add a good amount to start, and then again, you can add more to taste as you go. So, I'm going to give this a stir. I would say bring this up to a boil and then turn down the heat and just let it simmer. And then we're going to let this sit for a while, okay? Similar to chili, we're going to let this simmer for a while. So we can let everyone in the pool become friends. Like I said, last 2 things you do is add rice, and if you're adding shrimp to it, you would add shrimp. I'm not going to add shrimp to this because I'm the only one eating this at my house, and I don't really care for shrimp that much because they're underwater sea bugs, but that's just me. But if you did want to do shrimp, I will tell you, all you would need to do is take the shrimp, defrosted. Take the shells off. Take a pan. Heat up the pan, a little bit of oil. Coat the shrimp in Cajun seasoning, salt and pepper, and just kind of grill, pan sear them on both sides until the shrimp's done, and then add that on top. You don't want to add the shrimp just straight into the pot and have it cook down with, all the stuff, because when you're reheating shrimp, it's gross. You would serve the shrimp like to order. And then the rice we just add in last, because the rice kind of holds everything together and cooks real quick. So we're going to let this go for a couple hours. Right now it's about noon, so we'll check on it a little bit later. Okay, it's been a couple hours, and the smell has intensified. It's taken over the whole house. Again, we've been having this on low on the stove since noon. The chicken is falling even more apart. So you got pulled chicken throughout here. This is where you get to this point, and I would start adjusting flavors now. So if it needs more salt, pepper, Cajun seasoning, go for it, because next is rice time. Okay, want to put in a good amount first, and then stir that through. Remember, rice is going to take up quite a bit of room, so don't pour the whole box in before putting a good chunk in and then stirring. You want to kind of get a risotto consistency. You're not making soup, but you're not making fried rice either. Still want a little bit of soupiness. So just gonna let this cook for a little bit longer, because rice doesn't take long. I like to serve it in a bowl. I like to take a piece of pita bread and put that at the bottom of the bowl, and then serve some jambalaya on top. I just find it tasty because the pita bread will then absorb some of the flavor and add a nice fun texture to that. You're going to find a lot of jambalaya recipes are really different at some points, and then most of them are pretty similar in others. The andouille sausage, the chicken, shrimp in most cases, the rice. Where mine's different is mostly in the ratios of, it's 2/3 beef stock, 1/3 tomato. Other people do it more beef or more stock heavy. A lot of people use chicken stock. I like beef. Then the heat levels, the peppers you use, that's where it gets kind of different. So yeah, hope this was fun. I'm going to add a little bit more rice, but this is one of my probably most famous recipes that I'm asked to share. So here you go. Like, subscribe, share. Hopefully you guys like what I'm doing. I'm having fun doing it, and have fun making your jambalaya. Bye.